Hello and welcome to Crypto Bible. My name is Oliver, and in today's episode, we're going to have an Oliver and Elliot's market update in the world of crypto. I've got Elliot Rain on standby right now, so I'm going to get him straight in. I won't keep him waiting for too much longer, and we're going to start chatting about the market. But just before I do, throw me a like, get subbed, and don't forget, turn your notification bell icons on. All right, Elliot, I'm going to bring you in now. Hey, how you doing, Elliot? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too, buddy. So first things first, we're going to go through a number of points, 5 points. First point is market, crypto market. What's going on? What's happening in the world of crypto in the market right now?
So you might have seen we had a little bit of a pullback over previously within the, I think it was a weekend actually, it was a couple of days ago, that we've now rebounded from. So the main thing for me, I think I mentioned this previously when we spoke, was last time we spoke that we was in a downtrending structure, right? On the weekly
That's right.
time frame. Okay. We was in a downtrending structure, but overall, in the overall macro kind of environment, we could see that the market was, it's still trending upwards and it can still push higher, right? Now, the main thing that we've seen with regards to the rebound in most of the coins as a whole is that the structure as a whole, we've actually kind of shifted in its simplest format. We've found a bottom and we've managed to find the price has actually found a floor around about that 20 kind of 30k region. Should we say that 31k region? And what we've seen is we've seen the market rebound upwards and actually get back within the overall long-term trending structure, which is really, really good. And what I mean is, without having a chart in front of me, what I essentially mean is we previously broke down a longer trending structure of Bitcoin, meaning that the price was continuously making higher highs and higher lows. It was making now lower highs and lower lows. And we've now broken out and started to make a new higher low in the price, which is very, very, it gives me a lot of confidence and clarity that we're going to see the market continue growing. And I'm going to see probably Bitcoin around about that 50k region, I would say. Now, more evidence, and this is what a lot of people fail to understand when it comes to the confluence within the market. We've got a downtrending structure on the weekly time frame, but now on the daily time frame, which is a little bit shorter term, we now have a bullish uptrending structure, right? But on the monthly time frame, which is the overall macro, we're still in a bullish market. Okay, so this is what people fail to miss when it comes, will fail to understand when it comes to breaking down the time frames, because they all kind of like contradict each other as a whole, right? One you've got it going up, one you've got it going down, one you've got it going short term upwards. So what we want to see now is we want to see Bitcoin, because we've got what we call an inverse head and shoulders in Bitcoin's price, which would lead us to believe that essentially we might see the Bitcoin price around about 50k region. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So if we see Bitcoin breach 50k as a next move from its weekly, its daily uptrending structure, that will then make the weekly time frame a bullish structure. When currently it's a bearish structure, right? So what we need to see is we need to see Bitcoin back above $50,000, and that'll give me then clarity that we're going to continue this bull run and start to push upwards to the likes of 58,000, back above, all-time highs as a whole. But on the contrary, what we could see is if Bitcoin fails to breach $50,000, we will then see the weekly structure may make a lower high and then push even further lower in terms of the overall weekly time frame as a whole. So they're kind of like both sides of your ball. The region we're looking at is $50,000.
Okay, and do you think time frame wise, is that 3 months away? Because obviously there's still loads of predictions from other macro experts saying Bitcoin's going to be 100k. What kind of time frame do you think, in your opinion,
for 100k?
No, sorry, for to hit 50.
I would say, because we've got the head and shoulders on the daily time frame, I would say give it a few weeks. I would say a couple of weeks. We may get a lot of chop on his way up there, but the main thing is we've made a higher low on the daily time frame. Okay. So as long as we can breach the previous high that we've made, it'll probably a couple of weeks off. But there's always other external factors, i.e. the stock market, that can, if US equities manage to fall down in price, that will then invalidate our head and shoulders, invalidate the structure of crypto, and just pull it down anyway. So you got to take a full wide-eyed view of what's going on. But fundamentally, nothing's changed, and technically, things look okay to progress to 50,000.
That's pretty good. So then, after 50, do you envisage it then, going even in higher and start
if we
being more
can
bullish?
breach $50,000, get back above it and make a higher low above 50,000 and find some reasonable demand around that area, then the next areas I'll be looking at is 58,000. To then, if we can breach that, then eventually we will be reaching 75K with Bitcoin, right? As a longer term target, because what we're looking at as a whole. So if you look at macro from the market, we've got the markets pushed up to $66,000 for Bitcoin. We've then had a huge retracement back to $28,000, $29,000. And overall, as a retracement, that looks like, 60-ish% or something like that, right? And it's not the end of the world. But if we're then to use that as support, that demand region, then that would then essentially mean that the target would be an extension of that demand region, which would be like 75K on the macro anyway. In terms of 100K, we will get to 100K with Bitcoin. I'm very, very confident in that. But I always find a lot of the time people kind of bank on that happening and they don't realize what comes in between,
Sure. And we've had a lot of news. Would you say like a lot of the news has affected Bitcoin for, say, with Ukraine and the Russia thing, and obviously that's affected the stocks, and then obviously the Feds and stuff. So you never know what news is going to come out, right?
Yeah, I mean, what we find is the sentiment, as the sentiment changes, the news generally reflects that sentiment. So if you find that the market's pushing downwards, and obviously we've got the issue with potential wars and stuff going on in the world, that causes uncertainty, right? So that's like a macro across all asset classes. That's a macro issue. But in terms of crypto news, looking at the news that gets pushed out, we find that there's a lot more bearish news coming out when the market's pushing downwards. And when we start to see the momentum increase, you might have seen over the past week or so, I've actually seen, I don't check the news every single day, right? But I've seen more bullish news coming out than what it was previously the last few weeks ago, which will help the market to start to, find the building blocks to have more momentum. But the main thing for me is looking at news is a lot of it is manipulated by the biggest powers in the market. And the reason why that is it happens in the market, but the news doesn't have that much of an effect to move the price as much. But because the biggest players can invest millions into, and they probably even own the news outlets, right? They probably know that what they can push out this narrative. They can push the price as low as they want by pushing out a narrative, and they can also push it as high as they want as well.
That's interesting you said that, Elliot, actually, because it was one of the things I was going to ask you about, the manipulation. Like something like JP Morgan, for once, came out and said a while back saying about how crypto's bad and whatnot. And when the price was down, they heavily invested in Bitcoin. And then obviously, so it's not retail investors as much. It's the organizations that, like you said, it's like there's a story, Elliot, where Binance now have bought a $200 million into Forbes Media Group. So you can, you don't know what's going to happen there, but they're going to have a say in Forbes, and Forbes, is massive, and people know from the people's rich list. But it's interesting you said that as well.
And market manipulation, it's illegal, right? But in an unregulated market, you can't stop people pushing news out. And the fact that they can push the news out, push it as low as possible, purchase, and then, push it up as high as to a target they require, it's manipulated. I mean, I've never ruled out Bitcoin going back down to $9,000 because, and even lower than that, right? Because there's a few things that we can see, like CME gaps, like also the fact that the highs and lows over the years have been generally high, drop by at least 80% and then increase in value. I don't rule that out because if the higher powers want that to happen, they can just manipulate it the whole way down, buy what they want, and then push it in the desired direction,
And we've seen it happen. We spoke about it before about people, everyone's different, and some people panic sell because they can't see the bigger picture, and then they're looking around the media outlets and the news, they're telling them, and they sell, and we've seen that like recently with a huge drop. So that's interesting. Right, let's move on to point number 2 then. Everyone's favorite, coin watch. So what coins, what cryptos out there, in your opinion, do you think maybe are here to stay, might be performing well over the next 2 weeks? What do you think?
I mean, what we do is we focus on the macro, especially when we're working with private clients. We're looking at alternative chains right now. when I mentioned a minute ago about Bitcoin's increasing value, what that will be is an attempt for Bitcoin to increase its market dominance against the rest of the market. And then over time, the market dominance will probably drop anyway.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I say this and the reason why it's relevant to the coin picks that we're going for, it's really alternative picks that we are looking at this moment in time. So alternative chains. So for me, the main ones that we're looking at right now, Phantom for one. There's a lot more people. There's a lot more yield farming and liquidity farming protocols, not necessarily, but farms that people are participating in using Phantom network. And some of the yield you're getting on there are nothing short of ridiculous, you know.
What are we talking, like 200 and 300%?
Minimum.
Really?
Like, there's some that are looking at like, you know, ridiculous. Like I was speaking to a guy the other day who watched a YouTuber and it was like a few million%, you know, APY.
What?
And that for me, I was looking at it and I was thinking, okay. And I actually took a client through the process of purchasing and putting things in the MetaMask for adding the Phantom wallet into the MetaMask, going on to Beefy Finance and participating in one of these liquidity protocol. But some of the APYs you're getting on there are ridiculous. So if anyone's watching this, make sure you do check out the Beefy Finance and some of the yield farming rewards they're offering, because you know, if you do understand the long-term growth of Phantom, what that'll essentially mean is that you can lock up at a 50-50 rate some of your funds against another asset, and then, you know, earn rewards for the long-term growth of Phantom as well. So that's my main one at this moment in time, Phantom. Okay. But you've also
Beefy, sorry to go back or interject. It's Beefy Finance like it's an okay exchange to use, like as to others, because obviously there's a lot out there and you do this daily, so this is one like you've checked and verified and it works.
Beefy is new. It's relatively, I mean, it's a DeFi platform, right? So they've got, you know, all your ability to swap, all that sort of stuff, all your ability to farm yield. And for me, it's been fine. It's been absolutely fine. I mean, we started investing in Beefy, the actual kind of cryptocurrency.
Okay.
Or it was like $600. It was like $600. Now it's over like, I think it's like 12, maybe it actually might be 2K now or something like that.
That's a good pick, Elliot. Nice.
Yeah, but that platform as a whole is growing.
Okay.
And my experience of using, you know, other things like Spooky Swap, Uniswap, Pancake Swap, Sushi Swap, it's very good. Like it does the job.
That's good then.
So yeah, I do like it.
That's good to know. Right. So that was Phantom. So Phantom as a coin then, for anyone that doesn't know, is it a blockchain? Is it just the use case of using it to stake? Is that the utility? Is there anything else to it?
Yeah, so it's a scalable blockchain. So it's a competitor of Ethereum, right? So there's loads and loads of ways to look at it. So you got a layer one solution, which is essentially when people build their own blockchain, right?
Yeah.
So Ethereum's a layer one solution. Solana's a layer one solution. You got a layer two solution, which is essentially when other people are using the existing protocols to build on top of and scale other solutions like Matic, which is a scaling solution for Ethereum.
Polygon, yeah.
Yeah. So now what you've got is, and obviously layer three, which is like when you're building on a DAO, right? When you're building on a Metaverse, when you're selling NFTs, all that sort of stuff. But don't want to go down that route. But anyway, what Phantom is essentially, from my understanding, is it's a layer one solution, but it also has multi-chain solution to be able to link up with the likes of Ethereum, like, you know, Ethereum wallets run on the Ethereum blockchain,
right,
as a layer two solution. So it's kind of got, you know, it's a network as a whole. It does have cross-chain capabilities too.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, you cut out there a little bit, Elliot. Say that again.
Okay, yeah. So it's its own layer one solution, but it has multi-chain functionalities too behind it.
Right, cool. Yeah, no, I got that bit. Sorry, it was a bit after that. But okay, right. So after Phantom, I love that. That was just the first crypto we spoke about. Right. Okay. Are there any others?
So for me at this moment in time, this is like real world issues. Okay, so I always go where, you know, if I'm experiencing issues myself, you know, you've probably heard a lot of the time Ethereum gas fees are ridiculous, and the speed of Ethereum is just ridiculously bad. You know, it needs to be scaled to Ethereum 2.0.
Yeah.
Will happen, but so for me, it's all about my mind lie within the speed and scalability alternative coins at this moment in time. So I mentioned this previously. Avalanche, brilliant, brilliant project. I love it so much. The TPS on that, transaction per second, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Obviously, that has its own, you know, scalability working with Ethereum as well. It can in that respect. but
Yeah.
that's a brilliant protocol. Harmony won previously. You know,
I
I've
remember you
mentioned,
mentioning that before in our last chat. Yeah.
yeah,
And
brilliant.
that's a good coin to buy if you're looking coins in the UK, like under £1. It's like what, 15 pence or something at one point.
Yeah, well, it's about 30 cent right now, so whatever that converts into GBP.
Yeah. And all right, you haven't said Solana. I was wondering what your thoughts on would be on that, because I know you said that AVAT, Avalanche. What about Sol? Because I know they fasted TPS and NFT wise, because a lot of people. I guess this moves on to our third point about NFTs, because OpenSea is killing it, right? But then you've got gas fees. So you buy an NFT, right? And then NFTs now, which have great utility where you can make passive income. You buy an Ethereum NFT, you pay 50 quid just to stake it, right? You buy a Solana NFT, which has got passive income, and you pay pence, and it's quicker. So with regards to like Solana and their Magic Eden as well, that seems to be, you know, killing it, and they've got some great NFT projects out there as well. But obviously Ethereum still is kind of like the Apple brand that, oh, I've made it, I've got a project on Ethereum, but you've got better products or better blockchains or faster, like, and more energy efficient. So I'm rambling now. I want to talk. So Solana, what you think? What are you saying about Solana, and also incorporate into that like the NFTs on their blockchain?
So first point, Ethereum, it's always going to be in that respect, I would say, the granddaddy with its growth and its team behind it of altcoins, I would say. Well, definitely, for my opinion, flip Bitcoin in terms of market cap for the growth of the time. Now, when you look at alternative coins, I love Solana, right? I love Solana, but there's a few points I want to get across. So Solana's built on a proof of history protocol, okay? And it's also got pure proof of stake behind it, I believe, as well. It's got proof of stake, which is what Ethereum is transition from proof of work over to proof of stake. Now, the gain, let's say the advantages that Solana's got over Ethereum is it's more scalable, it's less fees, it's quicker. It's a very good alternative, is Solana. It doesn't do anything absolutely groundbreakingly, but it does everything a lot better.
Yeah.
Now, moving forward from that, this is when it comes into the development talks. I've got a development business as well, building cryptos, etc. in the space. The development on Solana network, when I'll get onto NFTs in a minute, but the development on Solana network is significantly harder than what it is on this Ethereum network, which is why we are finding a lot of projects are getting released on the Solana blockchain. But pure coding on the Ethereum network is what we call solidity coding.
Okay.
And if you make a mistake in that code, it'll chuck out where the mistake is. Okay. Now, when it comes to solidity, no, it's not solidity, but Solana, should I say? That's what we call Rust language. And Rust language, essentially, if you make a cock up, or sorry, excuse my French, but if you make
right.
then you've got to go through every single line of code and find that full stop or that extra space.
Okay.
So it's a lot harder to develop on. And that's why it's a very in-demand skill, like 10 times as much as Solidity.
Yeah.
But we're also finding a lot of projects, because of, said errors above, i.e. the scalability, the transaction fees, are getting transitioned over to Solana. But I'd say if you are considering going into the NFT game with Solana, probably budget a little bit more, because the expertise are really more in demand and there's a higher market value against them. But in terms of actually having an NFT on the Solana blockchain, brilliant. Like, a lot of the projects that are doing a lot better nowadays are, in terms of growth, are built on Solana blockchain.
Yeah, I see that as well. Like, NFTs are incredible because they're so interesting, and now they're starting to be a little bit more of a use case for them, like some utility than just when we first kind of got them and it was just a piece of art and people were like, I don't get it. But now you tell someone you can buy this piece and not only have, invest that and resell it on an exchange, but you can earn passive income, or you can stake it, or you can play to earn game. And obviously for gamers around the world and collectors are like, wait a minute, I can earn some, some actual crypto from this. So I know we spoke before, and you had an NFT expert come on board to Planet Crypto Global. What's he saying in your ear? What's he saying about NFTs to look out for? Any projects, anything coming up? I see there's a massive trend at the moment with Asian art, like Azuki and other bits that are following that kind of trend. What have you got for us?
So I'll be completely honest. I'll be the first to say I've still neglected looking at individual projects in terms of like, does this have value? Does it have capital growth?
Yeah.
The guy I've brought on, who's called Vina, he specializes in selling and minting NFTs, so selling them out upon so companies bring him on board to basically sell out their projects. Now, from what he's told me, the best projects to look at are the ones built on the Solana network, the ones that have real utility, that can be used for certain things and have tangible, growth backed against them. So I always look at an example, like if you have an artist, for example, that has a record label or that works like record label, and you can tie against the things that all the concerts they're doing, merchandise, VIP events, that has a tangible value in the world. You can get your place. For example, if you look at the apes, you've got private members, events, all that sort of stuff, which is grown over time.
Yeah, I want to go to one of those parties, Elliot. I think me and you should be invited.
Absolutely. Send me the invite. Send it over to Leeds. But yeah, so that's kind of my opinions at this moment in time. Like I am in that point where it's like, because I'm focusing more on the actual projects behind, the kind of actual facilitators. So like the Solana network, Sandbox as a coin, the likes of Mana. That's more kind of where I look. But I will be, as we grow and grow out and build the team more, I've just taken on an advisory role in a project that essentially are incubating lions as like, endangered lions. So every NFT that you buy, there's a certain donation that goes to preservation of lions, right? Which is quite an ethical project, which is why I got involved.
That's really cool. And you saying that has just sparked a memory that I've had, because I was looking at NFTs that were doing something for charity as well. So it was like, it's nice, isn't it? And when it's genuine, you feel like you're part of like what we had in the past. Someone would adopt a whale or something, but now you could have an NFT where someone else, a digital image, and you kind of adopt that whale. So that's interesting. So you mentioned Mana and Sandbox. I'm posh. Metaverse coins. Let's move on to that. What's going on with the Metaverse? Is there still a bit of a hype around it? Is it died down? Are Sandbox and Mana like the top two looking to be the ones to go for?
Yeah. So what we're looking at is Sana and Manbox. Sana and Manbox.
I've got you doing it.
Don't cut that out. That's me cracking on.
Brilliant.
So Mana and Sandbox, they're the ones we're looking at this moment in time. I think they're the most established, the most bigger players in terms of large scale companies. So we've seen Samsung, we've seen other large artists. All these big players are adopting, that as a whole and using their technology to build out. So they're the ones we're looking at right now. There will be more that come up. We've seen like the likes of Meta Hero. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yes, I've heard that. So yeah, they scan the whole body?
Yeah, and then put that in an augmented reality, which is something we're researching. It's not something I'd say whale into, but we're doing a lot of research around that, around how can you use biometrics to have augmented reality, and how does that have a real world use? Because a lot of it is really what's out there currently in terms of AI and AR, and how can crypto strengthen that and make it better.
Yeah, no, I've heard of that Meta Hero before. So it's interesting you said you brought it up. So what about I wanted to talk to you about the Super Bowl. Are you a Super Bowl fan?
Didn't watch it. I watched the performance of.
You've got we do it the next day, don't we? We go on. We're like, just give me the halftime with Eminem and all that.
Like, oh, that was such a good performance. You need to watch it. I was like, okay,
Wasn't it? It was so good. But the halftime adverts, there were 3 crypto ads. There was FTX, there was eToro, and there was Coinbase. So did you see the Coinbase one?
Yeah. I saw that. The big screen.
Yeah, it was just a QR code, wasn't it? And it broke Coinbase, massive. So with these kind of ads and the money that these crypto companies are putting in, do you see that as just enabling crypto adoption even more? Do you see like this year more and more people just coming into the space?
Yeah. So what I see, and I found a lot of the strategy from a marketing standpoint by a lot of these crypto companies is sports and community,
Yeah,
because what you find is a lot of the guys who are in the F1, the F1, that's another one. They're massive. I've got a few clients who work on the F1 game, and they say the money that's flying around is just ridiculous. But what you find is you tend to find in community, in sport, they've got huge communities that'll just follow, right? So that's kind of like one of their market strategies, but it can only do good for the space. I know that Crypto.com, they signed a deal with, is it the O2 in London?
Yeah, and they also got the LA Lakers $700 million. The Staples Center is now called the Crypto.com, and like you said, they're in Formula One, and I think they're doing a female Australian league, which is massive. And I know that they're Crypto.com. So interesting you mentioned them, because I was wondering what your thoughts were about them.
Oh, Oliver, I absolutely hate the platform.
Oh God, it is a bit hard when you first have it. After I know what you're saying, because when you first have it after Coinbase, you go on that, and then you're like, there's an exchange app as well as and it's like a bit laggy, and then you kind of like.
If I were giving anyone a piece of advice for bringing funds into crypto, use Swissborg, which is an Estonian-based app. They've got. I'm familiar with the founder. He's called Cyrus, and it's the cheapest, fastest way to get money into crypto. And it's Crypto.com. I've found that they have what we call a whitelist ban. So if you were making an account on MetaMask or wherever, and you add the address there, you get. It's only something I think they added it on the 25th of January. You've got to wait 20 hours to send your funds around. So if you want things to happen yesterday, you just can't.
Right.
You've got hidden fees, which are really, really bad. You know, you get charged a lot. So yeah, it's not really my favorite. I like my kind of personal way to get money in, and the way that clients use is getting money into Swissborg from fiat, which will be a 0.1% fee, or 0.01, I believe. And then sending that money from Swissborg in USDT or USDC over to the likes of Binance, where you can trade freely. You know, I don't even use Binance for extracting funds into, you know, doing withdrawals, because it can take too long. The fees are at 2.99%.
Okay.
So that's the best way I've found to date. You know, I mean, I remember like Kraken when it was like 2015, and like, you know, it took you like 3 weeks to get accepted and verified, right? So
God, yeah.
But Swissborg is groundbreaking to use.
So is this an app as well, Elliot, or just a lap? It's an app as well. Swissborg, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. SWISSBORG.
All right. Well, we'll have to check that one out. Okay. No, that's good. It's always good to have these chats in here, because when people just getting into crypto, there are so many exchanges and apps, and there's nothing worse than wasting your time downloading an app, going, oh, see this, going through, you know, the verification process, taking a picture of your face, and then going, I don't like the layout, it's too busy. I did that with Binance. When I first got Binance, I was like, whoa. And then I found out they've got a light version. You check that, and I was like, oh, that makes it a little bit. But then obviously being in the UK, you can't deposit because it's like a block. So then you're like, I guess I won't be using this app then. And then so it's always good, I think, to hear, like you telling us about Swissborg, what people use and what's good, and whatnot. So is there any other business, Elliot, we need to discuss in the world of crypto? Have we done it all?
I think we've covered a lot there, and there's a lot for people to digest.
Yeah, mate, I'm happy with that. That was really good.
Brilliant.
Right, wicked. Well, listen, I know you're a busy guy and you need to get back to your clients, so I'll say thanks very much for coming on, and hopefully we'll do another one next week and do a little market update.
Sounds good. Cheers,
cool.
Ollie.
All right, mate. Cheers, buddy. I'll see you next time.
See you soon.
So there you go. That was Oliver and Elliot's market update in the world of crypto. We spoke about so many different things. CoinWatch, we did NFTs, Metaverse. We came out and found out about Swissborg, that exchange. Check it out. Let me know how you get on with it. Anything you need to say, let me know in the comments down below. As always, throw me a like, get yourself subscribed to Crypto Bible, turn on the notification bell icon, cha-ting. Okay, very cool. And thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.